What's up, you guys? I just finished an AMA with AJ Brockman from EMP Money, and we were talking a little bit about EMP Money, but we were mostly talking about a new opportunity, a new project that's launching. It's a new layer one chain. They're bringing some crazy innovative tech, things I've never seen before, and actually the space has never seen before. So we're going to dig into all that in this, and I'm not just going to present the rosy aspect of all of this and say it's going to the moon, whatever. I'm going to cover and try to be objective, but you guys, you can tell I'm excited about it from the tone of my voice. This is something I've actually never had the chance to invest in. When I think about other major layer one tokens like BNB or AVAX or Phantom or Cosmos or Ethereum, like being able to get into something like that on a private sale level, which is what is happening right now for something that's got a great team and is bringing massive, crazy, never been done before technology. So we're going to dig into it in this AMA. You guys tune in. We'll jump right into it right now. What's going on, you guys? My name is Matt. And if you're new, I want to welcome you to the 0 to 100K project. And today we have something super exciting. We have Mr. AJ Brockman here from EMP Money, and he's going to be talking a little bit about EMP Money, but he's also going to be talking about a very exciting opportunity that I think everyone really needs to know about and really dig in and do their homework on. It's an opportunity that I really haven't had the experience of having this opportunity since I've been involved in crypto and in DeFi. So super excited about that. We're going to talk about it. That project is called Layer 1X. But before we even go there, let's, AJ, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and give a little update on what's happening with the EMP ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. Again, brother, thanks for having us back on the channel. You and I have done a few AMAs. I think the
Yeah,
last time we were here was in our about our NFTs.
right.
But yeah. Again, always appreciate your. I was saying this backstage with Matt. I love Matt's aura. He's very calming. So when I get on these
Thank you,
AMAs with Matt,
man.
it's always a pleasure, bro. So yeah, my name is AJ Brockman. I'm the team lead at EMP. We are a seniorage protocol on the Binance Smart Chain, but we're pegged to the price of Ethereum. So you're able to earn through our ecosystem, through many different aspects of our ecosystem. And we've been around over a year now. We celebrated our 1 year anniversary in January. And, we may not be the
Yeah.
sexiest APR, but we paid every single day for a year and a couple of months now. And Peg is on the way up, brother. So things are looking good for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And 1 year is a big deal. Like 1 year in DeFi is probably like what, like 10 or 15 years in regular business life. So
Totally.
so yeah, it says a lot that you guys are still here and that not only are you still here, but you're constantly innovating, delivering new products and finding where the flaws are in your current ecosystem and trying to adapt and fix those indefinitely, right? So you started as a senior edge protocol. You've kind of saw there was maybe some inflation, like runaway inflation problems over time
Totally.
that maybe it's caused by human error or, whatever it is, it's still a problem and you guys are endeavoring to fix that. So I think that says a lot about your team that you're working hard, you're still here, you're not giving up and you're trying to build something that really lasts. So I think that's
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely, man. No, and to your point, brother, we've been fully transparent the entire way.
Yeah,
We're learning things as we go as well. I mean, I'm a DeFi veteran. I've
right.
been in crypto for 7.5 years, but I don't have all the answers either. And so,
Yeah,
what we do is we build with the mindset of failure is not an option. And
I love that.
yeah, we're continuing to do so. And I would love to be back on for another AMA when we release what we're calling EMP Fusion,
Okay.
which really addresses everything that you just mentioned. I mean, we have seen where the inflation can really be a problem in these seniors protocols,
Mhm.
but even more than that, it's about the the overall sustainability of the platform as well. And
Right.
so all that will be addressed in EMP Fusion, and we've done some AMAs about it already in our own community, and that's why EMP itself as well as eShare has been up massively over the last few days. So I think
That's
people
awesome.
are, yeah, they're finally realizing that we have not only the ability, but actually the plan in place to make even EMP even more powerful.
Right, and probably if they're catching the vision of what's possible, they're realizing that these may be kind of the lowest prices that you might be able to get in on EMP and eShare. So
Absolutely, not financial advice, but
of course not.
yes,
Yeah, yeah. Let's
totally,
just take this
yeah.
moment. Yeah, anything we talk about here, this is not financial advice. This space has high risk associated with it. And if you guys don't know that, I'm telling you right now. So that's kind of the blanket statement there.
Perfect, yes.
So yeah, so why don't you talk about how you talked about EMP and like how did Layer One X like how are you involved in it? How did this come about with you and your team?
Absolutely. So we've had the ability to really foster some of the brightest minds in crypto.
Hmm.
Again, we with the success of EMP and our daily AMAs, we did daily AMAs for almost a year in
Yeah,
our protocol. Which was unheard of, and we did an online academy
right.
that I know you've been a big proponent of that, even for
Yep.
some other protocols, which I love. I mean, I think education is huge.
It's so
And
huge.
yeah, totally. I mean, so we have fostered an amazing community, and with that, it boils down to you know maybe not what you know, but who you know. And
Hmm.
so one of our long term members of our EMP army, which is essentially an extension of our team, took a position with this brand new startup blockchain company called L1X. And so this was like 6 or 7 months
Yeah.
ago from today. And so he said, AJ, I took a position with these guys. I love what they're doing. They're based out of Australia, so he met with them in person. They have an actual office. They're fully doxxed. I mean,
Hmm.
Kevin Cucino, the founder, he's been building this through the University of Western Australia for about 2.5 years. And so I said, all right, well, I'll give it a look. Well, I did a deep dive. Yeah, there's some of the team there
Yeah.
for sure. I did a deep dive on it, and I was blown away with the tech that this is again claiming to have. I know that they're big claims,
Right.
but and we'll talk about this a little bit later. But there's an actual working test net that you can interact with yourself. They'll give you the link through the Discord channel. To me, that is leaps and bounds. There you go. Yeah, you have pulled up. Good deal, man. So that's leaps and bounds
Yeah.
ahead of what other vaporware chains are offering right now. So with that, we did a private pre-sale through our own community,
Hmm.
and that went so well that we were given an opportunity to now offer this pre-sale to again our more of our affiliates in the DeFi world. And again, we'll talk about why
Yeah.
that's so important in terms of decentralization towards the
Yeah.
end here. But yeah, that's kind of how it all came together. And then recently, too, one last point, we were so blown away by the tech that L1X offers, and I got my brain going nonstop on
Yeah.
how to capitalize on this tech, and so we sent a proposal to L1X to their foundation to actually build an exchange on their protocol utilizing the true interoperability. And L1X was so again impressed with this proposal that we were awarded the launch decks contract of L1X. So again, I know it was a lot of info to take in,
Yeah.
but that's kind of how we got to where we are today.
Okay, yeah, so a lot to unpack there, but, yeah, having the launch DEX on a new chain, usually it's not guaranteed, but it usually becomes the main DEX that everyone uses. Think about PancakeSwap for Binance Smart Chain or Uniswap for Ethereum, um, Trader Joe for AVAX, things like that. So that's a very big deal, and when we talk about more factors of layer 1x, you're going to realize that it's even a bigger deal when you talk about accessing TVL from all different chains, et cetera. But if we back up to layer 1x itself, just so everyone who's watching understands, because there's a wide variety of people watching, that layer 1x is a new layer one chain. So it's not just a cute name, it's actually a new layer one chain. And when I first saw this, I read a bunch of big words like scalability and security and interoperability and all this stuff. And I was like, I don't really know. Like, it seems like this is something to make it look fancy. We have enough layer ones. Like, we don't need this. But then
Totally.
it kept coming up, different people bringing it to me, people that I respect. And so I kept taking a deeper look at it. And I sort of had like an aha moment, which I'll kind of share as we move through this of oh my gosh, this could be massive, like really, really big. I can understand why people are excited about it. So hopefully you guys get that same sort of aha moment as we're going through this. Um, but I started understanding the key of interoperability. So maybe you could talk about why that's such a big deal, or maybe back up and just talk about why is it different? I could talk about it, but I want to hear
Yeah.
from you. Like, why is Layer 1X different? Why should people care? You know, what separates it from the pack?
Absolutely, Matt. So, and I know you are the you're actually a YouTuber that does their own research, which I respect massively. So,
Yeah,
if there's anything that I forget or
sure.
gloss over, please feel free to interrupt me. But yeah,
Yeah,
and just to be clear, L1X is not our protocol. In other
yeah,
words, this is a separate deal. EMP and Dex Finance, which is another leader in the DeFi space, we will be building on top of L1X. But to Matt's point, and I've been super public about this in our own AMAs. We don't need any more, copy and paste blockchains. And even
right.
if you had an amazing blockchain, if nobody is building on that chain, then it doesn't matter. I think
Mm,
it's Metcalfe's law that the network's value, the amount of how valuable a network is based on its users. And so,
right,
taking that all into account, the tech that Layer 1X brings is absolutely revolutionary. So, this is compatible with all Ethereum virtual machines or EVM chains, which, again, those are typically Solidity based coding. But this will also be compatible with um, Solana, which is a Rust-based
okay,
coding language. So by doing this, again, the word is interoperability. Well, what does that really mean?
right,
Interoperability is a fancy word that means all chains will now no longer be in their own silos, where you have to again connect to ETH mainnet. You have to then change your RPC to connect to the Binance
right,
Smart Chain. And not only that, but then you have to bridge funds. So you have to bridge. If you want to go from ETH
yeah,
to BNB, you have to go through a third party bridge. And bridging is a major, major attack vector. Last year alone, over $2 billion was exploited or hacked through
it's
bridging.
crazy.
And, it's expensive. It takes forever.
It's
Sometimes
nerve wracking.
exactly. I was going to say that. Sometimes you have thousands of dollars
Yeah,
just in the ethos,
yeah,
hoping and praying that it shows up on the right chain that you've submitted to. Well, again, L1X solves all of that, where they are literally getting rid of bridging. They're making
which is
bridging.
nuts.
Yeah, I know, man, and that is a huge claim to make. But
Yeah,
they've proven it, and again through their test net, you can actually do it even now. And how it works is it's basically a way for the chains to communicate with each other with L1X as the intermediary, but it's all based on receipt transactions. So again, not to get too detailed, but there's a total of four transactions: two from who you're sending, the chain you're sending
mhm,
from, and two to the chain that you're receiving on, and through their own virtual machine. Again, this is tech that Layer 1X has built from the ground up. It's not a copy and paste.
right.
They're able to facilitate that transaction without a bridge.
Which is it's crazy. It's awesome because, like you said, in terms of security, that's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, security risk in crypto and DeFi
For
right now.
sure. For sure.
Is over $2 billion of bridge hacks in 2022, stolen funds. That's a big deal. That's a ton of capital, and that's a huge risk for investors that they probably would wish they wouldn't have to take. So Layer 1X saying, "Hey, guess what? You don't need bridges anymore." And this was the aha moment for me was, because my thought was, okay, even if they're great, like getting user adoption is going to be difficult because people are creatures of habit. So they're used to using Binance Smart Chain, they're used to using Ethereum. They have these sort of things that they're just used to doing. So it's going to be difficult, even if it's a great product. But then I realized, oh, wait a minute, they're not competing with them. They're actually going to be unifying all the chains into one chain in a way. So it's like bringing them together. So that was like, okay, I can see how this could be massive.
Totally.
Because even just the other day, right now there's sort of you sort of follow the money flow when you're a DeFi investor and you're looking where's the money going. And right now, a lot of money's going over to Arbitrum and going over to Kava, whether that's a thing or not, I don't know. But there were some plays on Arbitrum that I was like, oh, I want to hurry up and get in that, but I didn't have the chain set up. I didn't have the gas token on there. And I'm a family man. I have 4 kids, and so I was just busy, and I just missed it. I couldn't get it because a lot of that's time sensitive stuff and whatever. But this would totally solve something like that because at least the way that I understand it, you can correct me if I'm wrong, as long as that protocol was had the right setup with layer 1x, then I could be able to access that from, I guess, from my layer 1x wallet or from my MetaMask, as long as I had the gas token of L1x. Is that right?
Yes, brother, and it's even further than that. So, yeah, let me elaborate a little bit more. And again, there may be some things I say today that are just to the best of my knowledge as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I definitely encourage everybody to go to the Discord of L1X and clarify. But yeah, so to
Yeah.
your point, um, and yeah, and Arbitrum's a great example because again, that was all the hype over the last few weeks.
Hmm.
Well, um, yeah, again, any EVM or non-EVM chain will now be compatible. And to your point about adoption, typically when we see a new chain launch,
Hmm.
like Arbitrum, you either have to port your entire smart contracts over, which basically means
Yeah.
coding that again from the ground up, or you have to start over completely and just build from scratch on the new chain. Well, the way L1X is set up, whether you use the L1X wallet, which they will be coming out with their own wallet, because, and this is another really important point, this technology has never existed. So, with the
Yeah.
L1X wallet, you're going to be able to see your holdings natively on every chain. With MetaMask, that interface is not really available because the technology was never there to be able to hold native assets all within one wallet without changing the RPCs. So, but it is compatible with MetaMask, so don't feel like you have to,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
have to
that's a big
completely
deal, I
switch.
think, to have
Yeah,
that as well.
totally. And again, for adoption, I think that's huge because you said people are creatures of habit, for sure.
Totally.
Yeah, but really, all you have to do, and not only we say interoperable in terms of tokens, but it's also interoperable in terms of logic, which means a smart contract on Ethereum can now talk to a smart contract on, you know, Binance, or AVAX contract can talk to an Arbitrum contract. I mean, again, that's revolutionary. That's never been done before. And
That is wild.
all you have to do from a developer standpoint
Yeah.
is update about 3 lines of code in the header of your smart contract. So if your smart contract's renounced, then you may have an issue.
I
But
was
if,
wondering about
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So that is the only kind of downside.
Yeah.
But if not, if you're able to edit your smart contracts, you literally become compatible with every chain just through a few lines of code. Which, again, in terms of adoption, that will be massive. Every developer on the planet will want to
Of
update their
course.
code to be
Yeah.
to be interoperable for sure.
Yeah, because you think about, so I talked about from the investor standpoint of having access to all projects from one chain, but on the development side, like you touched on, you no longer have to think to yourself, okay, do I want to launch on Arbitrum because that's where the momentum is, but what if it fades and then I'm stuck, my project's stuck on Arbitrum, and vice versa. Now you can access the TVL across all chains, and like you said, this is another huge thing is getting the adoption rate up is just changing out a few lines of code as long as it's not an immutable contract, like you said. So that is huge. So not only is it not, you're not competing against other chains, you're actually uniting them. So it's not everybody operating on their own island. It's like now everybody can work together. And also to be able to get them on board, it's just a few lines of code. So those two things alone were my aha moment that I was like trying to calm myself down and be like, okay, okay, because I'm a very visionary person, so I start to catch the vision and like I can like run with the
For sure,
possibilities.
brother.
But then I have to step back and be like, okay, what could go wrong? What am I missing? Like, let's talk more realistic. And I know that you're like that, and you wouldn't just attach your name to anything, right? You have a reputation. And so having you very outspoken about the potential of this project, I think that says a lot. And also, I know that you did your homework. Maybe you could speak to that. So, like, what made you a believer? And I think maybe a big part of that is they have this working test net already. They actually developed tech and then asked for the raise instead of vice versa, like a lot of things in the space.
Absolutely, Matt. Again, brother, I couldn't have said it better myself. And yeah, I mean, there is a ton of, things that L1X actually has to deliver on,
Yes.
and I'm a major, major, again, proponent of actions speak louder than words. But that's even more of a reason why
Hmm.
I'm so excited is because the test net is functioning. I mean,
Yeah.
again, I can't stress how fundamentally different that is than these other vaporware chains that they have massive raises and evaluations before
Hmm.
they even have one line of code written.
Right.
And for me, that was part of my due diligence. And
Hmm.
you're 100% right. I would never willingly attach my name to something that I really
Yeah.
didn't believe in. And so, you know, I've signed NDAs with the L1X team. I've had a chance to look at the code. Uh, you know, not just me, but our entire team. Again, Jake, our lead developer, and again, Dex Finance, their project lead, his name is Jake as well. So
Oh, okay.
it can get a little confusing. But I mean, we've done a lot of the digging. And again, I mean, are there some things that may be some bumps in the road?
Hmm.
Absolutely. I
Yep.
mean, with revolutionary tech like this, I mean, delivering on time and
Right.
actually getting to market, there are a lot of hurdles, but everything I'm seeing is saying that they actually can pull this off.
Yeah.
And I've said it many times too. Even if they're able to deliver on half
Right.
or a tenth of what they're claiming, I mean, it is a true market disruptor and something that
Yes.
will be, again, something the crypto world in general, not even DeFi, but crypto as a whole, is not ready for. I don't think they don't know
Yeah.
what's coming for sure.
Right. I think you look as an investor, you look for something that's solving real world problems. And these are real problems right now in crypto is how do these how do you get these chains to speak to each other? How can they all work together in a more seamless way? How can it be a better user experience for a new person coming in? Because it can be very tricky. There's a lot of room for error, like sending money off into the ethos and never getting it back, trying to bridge from one chain to another, and all that stuff. So this could be one huge step in the direction of mass user adoption. Just this alone. So, like you said, there are a lot of hurdles they need to get through. But from what I'm seeing so far, and what in the working product they have, and according to Matthew, who's one of the team members there, that used to be part of the EMP, I guess, team
Yep,
there, he's
yep,
he's saying they're a little bit ahead of schedule in terms of an August launch. Like they actually could launch sooner, but they're actually waiting on market timing and things like that, people getting back from holiday and vacation, et cetera. But they're on track, basically, is my point, so far at least. So we'll
totally.
see.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and that's the same info that we're getting. Again, they're fully been amazing communicators and fully transparent along the way. They're even running some things this week. Again, that are proving, industry first capability in terms of what they're able to accomplish. So keep an eye out for that. They're hopefully going to announce that on Friday. They were able to do something that's never been done before in crypto in terms of tech.
Awesome.
So again, they're simultaneously doing all this while they get ready for going to market. And again, like we said earlier, that's very different. They want to make sure the tech
Yeah.
is perfect um, before they launch. And to me, that's another again. And I'm trying to get too emotional. Obviously, we say
Yeah.
yeah, try to be smart about things, and there is risk involved, but
Yeah.
just knowing the team, knowing the vision, uh, it's very hard not to get excited for
Right.
what it is, for sure.
Right. Well, you start looking at other layer ones, and even the ones that aren't huge or don't have a ton of TVL, I mean, you kind of see what their token prices have done over time. I heard you say this statistic on a different AMA. I think you said on average, layer ones have done like a 42x from launch. Is that right?
Yep, that is right. So 42x, and that's on launch price. So again, we'll talk about the pre-sale at the end
Yeah.
here, but I want to make sure we go over all the fundamentals
Yeah. I got a
of
little ahead of
L1X
myself,
first. Yeah,
but
but no,
that's the
yeah,
kind of
totally.
potential that might get you excited as an investor when you look at this kind of opportunity. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and if you look at the top 10 layer ones, that number is dramatically higher.
Yes.
So
Right.
there somebody did a post in our Telegram today. Again, if you look at where ETH, and again, that's a big comparison,
Right.
but
Right.
ETH was like a 15,000x.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right.
totally,
Well, you want to put you want to have a horse in the race. You know what I mean? Like when you see something that's bringing this much tech to the table, that's new and innovative, and that's the way I'm looking at it. Like I want to have a horse in the race, and so I
totally,
want people to be aware of it in my community, and so that's what we're doing here today. But of course, you have to be aware that it's high risk. You know, we keep having to say that, but that is the truth of this space. Nothing's guaranteed, but you try to play the statistics of certainty. Like you have levels of certainty, and the more that I find out about the team, the tokenomics, what's the working tech they already have, my level of certainty starts to go up more and more and more. So we'll see how this goes as time progresses. But I like what I'm seeing now, and obviously I like the potential in terms of the logic communicating to each other. So you're saying one smart contract on one chain could talk to another, and now could that like open the door for like crazy partnerships between protocols, or like what do you see as that?
totally. Yeah, no, I love again, Matt, your mindset. You're a builder just like I am. You have the vision, and that's everything that got us excited about what L1X is potentially able to accomplish. And so, yeah, and that's one of the major reasons why we decided to bring Dex Finance on board. They
Yeah,
have some incredible tech. Um, that they've been able to build called their Dex Vaults, and essentially what this is a hybrid or a mashup
mhm,
of auto balancing through a beefy style
okay,
LP pool, as well as a rebalancing within the multiple LPs that the balancer does. So it's a hybrid of beefy auto compounding and balancer protocol, and by doing this, they've been able to outperform those individually by up to 10%. So
wow,
this tech is amazing. And now with with the capability of L1X, imagine having multiple native LP pools from native chains all within this technology. So now you're holding
yeah,
actual Ethereum, actual BNB, and actual AVAX LPs that are rebalancing and
wow,
auto compounding. I mean, that is the potential that we could see. So to your point, the partnerships are endless because now you have the
yeah,
capital efficiency of being able to interact with any chain. And you made an amazing point earlier too, Matt, about how developers having to, basically decide what
mhm,
chain they're going to build on. Simply based on fees
right,
or capital, but now all of that goes away. So we're all able to work together. And I made a joke on one of the AMAs with Machu that this is going to be the blockchain to rule them all. Well, it's not. It's the blockchain to unite them all. And again,
yeah.
it's such a better fundamental way that these work together.
That's the thing where the light bulb went off for me. It's kind of like it takes all the Power Rangers together and to makes the one
Yes,
mega.
yes.
I don't even know what that's called,
We're
but
Captain Planet, right?
yeah,
Our
yeah.
powers combined, right? Yeah, totally.
So
Yeah,
then, yeah, so like on this slide here, you can see just on launch, I think there are maybe 8 chains straight away, but they're going to keep adding more, and that accounts for 81% of the TVL across all the chains. So imagine like having access to all of that investor capital. When you launch a project, that's kind of mind blowing to me. I would be thinking that.
totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and one more quick, real world example, even for us. So we built our Power Up NFTs on Ethereum mainnet so that we would have access to all, the ETH whales and all the
Yeah.
activity on ETH mainnet. Well, unless you have a couple of power ups, it's hard to even outweigh the gas fees of what
Right.
you're claiming. So now having that true interoperability, you could essentially reward a NFT holder on whatever chain is the lowest fees. So now not only are you
Huh.
again
Okay.
being able to talk to each other, but now you're able to actually reward people on other networks based on no matter where they have their investment, which is incredible.
That's so interesting. I think it's going to open up just things that we don't even that don't exist right now. so, I think it's going to be pretty amazing in that way. And so to sort of back up, so we've been talking about layer one X, which is a layer one chain. We talked about what it's going to do. So the actual token is called L1X, right? And this token is also
Yes.
the gas token for the network. And
Yes, absolutely, and really fast before I forget, Matt, another really cool thing that we just were able to confirm within the last few days. Not only is L1X the gas token of the main chain,
yeah,
but you'll actually be able to seamlessly convert your L1X as the gas token for any chain. So I know you had
wow,
mentioned earlier about even after you bridge. Sometimes you don't get as much as you need.
yeah,
Now you're asking your friends to
right,
send you some BNB or ETH
yeah,
to even do the transaction. Well, again, all the native, and this is one more point, all the native fees of the native chains, they are still implemented. So again,
okay,
ETH will still be expensive to transact on, but now you're able to actually use L1X
okay,
to facilitate that transaction, and not have to worry about having you know every
yeah.
native asset of every chain. So yeah, go ahead. Does that make sense? I don't know if
No,
I explained
that
that
makes sense. I was
well.
actually
Okay. Yeah.
wondering about that because I know that I think I heard Matthew say that it's a 1 cent like max transaction cost for using L1X gas token. But in
Correct.
your example, like let's say you're minting an NFT on Ethereum that it costs you $40 gas in ETH. So in my understanding, it would still cost you $40 plus 1 cent. Is that right? In L1X?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep, 100%. Because again, the chains themselves will still have to, validate those transactions.
Yeah.
But and so back to what we talked about earlier about updating, those one or two lines of code. If that mint on even on ETH mainnet, as long as that mint contract had the ability to recognize L1X again just through one or two lines, then
Yeah.
you are able to avoid um, those fees because again, L1X
Really?
can then validate it. So yeah, again, and that's another really important point because that is going to really help adoption.
Yeah.
Because if a developer knows they can avoid those fees and help their user, then obviously they're going to do that. I mean, it makes absolute sense. So yeah, again, just to recap, if they're not if they have not updated their code to recognize L1X,
Yeah.
then you do have to pay the gas fee plus up to 1 cent. In reality, it'll be much less, but you can do it in L1X tokens rather than having to have ETH to do so. Yeah.
But if they have the 3 lines of code or so, you could technically do that same mint for 1 cent?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
brother.
I'm just
Is
making sure
that?
I
Yeah.
understand that right.
Yes. Totally. Absolutely.
Like, that's gonna be a game changer for ETH users for sure. Like, people that are whales on the Ethereum network that are playing around minting NFTs, etcetera. That's gonna be awesome. So that it's hard not to get excited about this kind of stuff. So let's transition and talk about, well, actually, let's talk about the, private sale, the raise you guys got going on, and we'll kinda go from there. We'll talk about the DEX after that. Does that
Perfect.
sound good? Okay.
Yep. Sorry. So, all right, I had the mute button here. Yeah, absolutely. So, this is our pre-sale page. So, again, just to give a little bit more background, we have been running our own whitelist pre-sale through
Okay.
our community. And again, we were able to get the attention of L1X.
Hmm.
They said, "Man, you guys have such an incredible community, and that's a testament to what we call our emperors
Yeah.
or our empresses, everybody in EMP." And so, um, because of our relationship, and this was even before we were awarded the launch decks contract. So they gave us an allocation of their pre-sale to then offer to everybody publicly. So we have a hard cap of $5 million worth.
Okay.
There was a soft cap of 2.5 million, but they have since we've since removed that because they said, listen, whatever you guys are able to raise, you're guaranteed those tokens. So
Cool.
if you've gotten into it already, you're guaranteed the pre-sale price of 10 cents. Again, this is the absolute lowest,
Yeah.
other than like founding members, which even then I think it was about 8 cents, not
Hmm.
10 cents. This is literally the seed round, and the reason the L1X is doing this is another testament to
Hmm.
the kind of people that L1X are, and so typically you see, and we'll use Phantom as an example.
Okay.
They were purely funded through venture capitalists, and so what happens is you see basically 5 or 10 individuals that have
Hmm.
all of the supply of
Yeah.
the token, and even if it is vested, that adds a huge layer of centralization to that chain. And
Hmm.
so L1X said, not only are we going to be decentralized, but we're also going to be, decentralized in our token holders as well. So again, through our network, through AMAs like this today, we have been given the opportunity to get as many L1X tokens in the hands of as many people, even before the chain goes live. So there is a launch price of 50 cents. I know that that sounds, again, a 5x
Yeah.
as optimistic, but there is a vesting schedule, which really I think
Right.
is super important to actually, yeah, there you go, to actually realize that 5x. So you are having to vest your tokens linearly over 15 months. So if you get in today to the pre-sale, the vesting schedule will start when the chain goes live. So there is some months that might be some opportunity cost
Hmm.
associated. But
Right.
then, say if you invested 1,500, you would get 100 tokens or $100 worth of tokens once a month for 15 months. So, and that's really again bullish for the price because
Yeah.
now you can't have everybody dumping on day one because not all the tokens are in supply. I mean, the circulating supply on day one is only going to be about 50 million in terms of market
Wow.
cap.
Okay.
So that's really low, especially for a layer one. And unless you got into a pre-sale, the only way to get the token is to buy it. So again, that's another reason why we could see some major appreciation on launch rather than a dump for sure.
Right, and then I see there's a 30-year vesting on the rest of the tokens, basically. So that's why you see right here, there's a sharp curve up the first 15 months, and that's when, the private sale, I guess, tokens are released over the first 15 months or so.
For sure. Yep, and then
Um,
the 30-month really helps spread out that, inflation. The token itself is non-inflationary. If anything, L1X will be deflationary because, and again, we can talk about this a little later, but yeah, the token, it's somewhere in one of these slides, but
yeah, I saw that.
50%, yeah, 50% of the fees go to the validators, and then the other 50% is split into two where 25% will
No, that's
go
not it.
to the foundation,
Okay.
and that could potentially be burned. So again, some of it will go
Yeah.
there. You go, perfect. So 50% to the full nodes, 25% to the validators, and 25% to the L1X Foundation. Well, again, if there is no grants or maybe the treasury is already very healthy, then they can choose to burn that 25%. which again, the max supply of
Hmm.
L1X is 1 billion tokens, which
Right.
again is not really that much when you start talking, the grand
Yeah.
scheme of things, for sure. Yeah,
When you talk about the idea that it's going to be somewhat deflationary over time, yeah, and it's going to be slowly because of the 30-year vesting, it's going to be coming to market slowly. So yeah, take that all into consideration as you're thinking about this. Again, it's a right now you can get it for 10 cents. The launch price is going to be a 5x, so starting at 50 cents, you're going to have that. I'm just recapping that 15-month vesting period where you get 1/15th of it dropped to you once a month. Okay. And so I got this from their Discord. This is sort of um, a vesting calculator that they came up with. I don't know if you've seen this, AJ, or not, but
perfect. Yeah,
so
Matt, no doubt. This is again, this is exciting. We one of our community members put this together. But yeah, please go over this for sure.
yeah, so you just change the amount of your investment right here. So if you invested $1,500, you'd receive 15,000 tokens because you're getting that 10-cent price. So on the first month, or yeah, like at launch at 50 cents, those 1,000 tokens would be worth $500. So you can kind of look out into the future and see that if the token price was $1.50, I mean you'd ROI 100% even on month one. So who knows what could happen? I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but the potential is obviously there for that. But even on the first month, I heard you mention this, or Jake mentioned this in a different AMA from Dex Finance, that you get 33% basically because of that 5x on month one. So
For
I
sure.
know people are approaching this in different ways. So some people want to pull their money out immediately. Some people have a longer term vision that they're like, well, no, I mean, if this is something that could be anything like one of the other major layer ones, like I'm in it for the long haul kind of thing. So, however you want it to go about it, but you can kind of use this to scheme whatever your strategy might be. And I'll have this and everything else we talked about in the description of the video. I'll have everything linked for you, including their socials and everything. So you guys can really thoroughly research this.
Amazing, brother. No, I love it. And to your point too, there will be massive use case for
Yeah.
L1X right out the gate. And so, and again, we're launching the DEX, and we made the decision. And this, I may be jumping the gun here. This might be one of your questions, but
Okay.
we have made the decision to not use a secondary token for the DEX itself. So, typically you see like for PancakeSwap,
Uh-huh.
for example, you see the cake token, which that token is meant to reward liquidity providers, and
Mhm.
it's highly inflationary. It's very speculative. PancakeSwap does buyback and burn on cake, but it's at their discretion on what they feel like they want to do for that particular month. Well,
Yeah.
for us, we're eliminating all of that. So the actual native token of the DEX will be L1X as well. So now, just as soon
Yeah.
again day one, you'll be able to provide liquidity for L1X through our exchange, and then be rewarded in actual exchange fees. So again,
Uh-huh.
based on the volume, and again, exchange fees are different than gas fees. So just keep that in mind. But even that, I mean, I
Okay.
think PancakeSwap charges like 0.03%. We could be a third of that, and still be very, very profitable because we don't have the high gas fees. Again, and when
Yeah.
I say high, even BNB, at 30 cents, that's really nothing, to the developed world. But that could be massive for a third world country, or if you're going to buy, and we haven't talked
Right.
about real world adoption. But if you're going to
Yeah.
buy a coffee or an envelope, you're not going to spend 30 cents for a fee. You want to spend, less than one
Right.
cent on a fee. So,
Well, y
yeah,
when
totally.
you're
Yeah.
talking about massive volume, a number of transactions, that begins to really matter, you know? Like 1 or
Yeah.
2 transactions, it's like, okay, 30 cents is no big deal,
Totally.
but
Yeah, the more
thousands,
and more.
yeah,
Yeah, no
hundreds of
doubt. Well,
thousands.
and that's really the potential here. I mean, again, just to give hard numbers, PancakeSwap does about $400,000 a day in fees, and
Mhm.
Uniswap does $4 million a day in
Yeah.
fees. And again, because of that interoperability, I mean, we can have a large market share of of all that combined, not
Right.
including Trader Joe or Spooky Swap or any of the other layer layer ones, the 8 that we'll be launching with.
Yeah,
So
so if people could transact for cheaper and still achieve what they're wanting to do, why would they choose Uniswap over your DEX, I guess? Yeah,
totally,
and
totally.
from what I heard, also Jake say from a different AMA, which I think is cool, is it's not like you would be he said giving them the Heisman. Like, you actually need them on the other
Yes.
side to be interoperable, right? So you're still working together in a way?
Absolutely, and again, that's an amazing point that a lot of high level thinkers are thinking is that yeah, it's not again that whole competition base is
Right,
not there. If anything, we're incentivizing the liquidity from these other dexes on different chains
right,
to be on the other side. So yeah, and again, just to wrap up the pure revenue model,
sure.
you're going to be earning from those fees of the DEX. And that's why it's also really bullish for EMP and DEX finance is because we will have equity. The large percentage of fees will be staying in, the L1X ecosystem and
Mhm.
rewarding LP providers and all that. But even again, 10% split between DEX and EMP, that could be hundreds, if not, literally tens of thousands of dollars a day coming back into
Yeah.
our ecosystems. So yeah, totally.
Which is pretty massive. Like, what would you say percentage-wise it could be versus what you have now? Like, do you have any kind of
Yeah, brother. So again, just based on and we have a healthy treasury
yeah,
as well as Dex Finance. They're yielding even today. Literally buying pressure on our native assets. But if this goes through, we could see 100x in terms of
okay.
earning potential
So
on what our treasury is able to yield.
so it's a big deal. Yeah, it's a very big deal. So there's a lot of potential there and probably just scratching the surface. Is there any other kind of innovation or are you guys still developing more concepts for the DEX or, how it would differentiate itself from other DEXs that exist?
Absolutely. So, again, we could do a whole AMA on this
Yeah, we
alone,
could.
and we will. We'll definitely do some follow-ups. Right
Yeah,
now, we're trying to get through the raise. Again, you can already
right.
see we've raised $840,000,
Yeah.
which is just unbelievable. And real fast too on that point, there we are still fully compliant with the raise for L1X. So because
Oh, yeah.
we're offering this as a basically an intermediary. We are KYCing. EMP
Mhm.
has a trust account that we do business through, and we are KYCing with
Mhm.
L1X directly. So a lot of you have been asking, well, I wanted to get into L1X, but I don't want to KYC. Well, this is the solution. So through a smart contract, again, we're going to be able to reward or distribute L1X tokens for everybody that went through our pre-sale. So that's just one more little background of
Right.
we're doing everything by the book, and
Yeah.
L1X's as well. I mean, the same team that set up the Ethereum Foundation set up the L1X Foundation. So.
Yeah.
It's a whole different animal. We're not doing a project launch. This is an actual chain launch, and I can count on one hand, you know, the opportunities I've had to be involved in a chain launching from the ground up, especially at
Mhm.
a presale price. But yeah,
Right.
and so not to get too far off topic, but yeah, the deck itself, and we'll be releasing this info within the next month or so.
Okay.
But it will act much more like a centralized exchange, and what I mean by that is from a front end perspective or a user experience, it
Okay.
will not be a copy of Uniswap or PancakeSwap that is an automated market maker.
Okay.
That's what we're used to with LP pools. Well, this will be much more like an FTX. And again, I know everyone's like, "Well, God, FTX." No,
Yeah.
well, it will be fully decentralized. So again, in the back end or under the hood, so to speak, you will have full custody of your tokens always. And that is
Nice.
such a big difference than how all centralized exchanges work. Um, but now you're able to set limit orders, you're able to set stop losses, you're able to have so
That's
much more
cool.
data. You can transfer between tokens without having to pay gas, even though gas is only 1 cent
Yeah.
on L1X, because it's that more centralized front end. As long as your tokens are in there, you can move them around again without paying gas fees. And it's going to be massive for user adoption as well because there's a lot more people that are more familiar
Hmm.
how to use a centralized exchange
Right.
rather than having to have a a MetaMask and set up
Yeah.
all the different LPs and set slippage and everything
Right.
else that goes along
Right.
with that. This will be way more simple from the front end for sure.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is you guys are going to take a lot of the best parts about centralized exchanges and then combine that with having still full custody of all your tokens in the decentralized aspect of things. I think that's pretty amazing.
100%. Yep. Perfect.
Very cool. Okay. So from here, I'm trying to think if I touched on everything. One thing I wanted to mention because I'm looking at this. You said keeping things more decentralized, and I was thinking my mind jumped back to when you were talking about they didn't want to have this raise happen and just give all of the allocation to VCs because talking to or hearing Matthew talk, he said actually three different VCs came to the table saying, "Hey, we'll give you the full 10 million." But
Yeah.
that would be the
100%.
opposite of so the appetite is there, like, that shows you that, the interest level is there, people see the vision, but they want to decentralize it in a way of spreading it out to individual investors, and not only that, but giving them the opportunity that a VC would have, and in so doing, spreading out the ability for one person or 3 people to have so much control over the entire chain or platform.
Yeah, I love that, and again, thanks for, kinda simplifying it, Matt. I know I can kinda get into the weeds, but yeah, that is the overall and even through our raise, it's a 50,000 maximum, and, we are
Okay.
monitoring,
Yeah.
we are monitoring the on-chain data, so if you wanna contribute more than that, you will have to get in touch with us directly,
Okay.
and, it makes it fair, to everybody, but yeah, and that's perfect. You click on that. It's all four chains. So yeah, we're accepting USDT and USDC on BNB, ETH, Polygon, or Avalanche. So
Awesome.
again, bunch of options. And once you do contribute, there's the My Wallet button. And that will show you the history. So
Okay.
you'll know it's a ledger basically
Okay.
that shows when you what date you contributed, the amount, so you can contribute multiple times. I know people have been
Yeah.
waiting for a paycheck or for funds to
Yeah.
come through. There is a minimum of $100 per
Yes.
wallet, but that's also per transaction. So you have to,
Okay.
if you're only going to do 100 and then you want to add 50 tomorrow, you have to do 100. So it is a
Got it.
minimum per transaction, not overall. And yeah, as of right now, we're having the raise until March 14th. But I have heard from Matu. I think we may end up extending it because we're really ramping up the hype, and the
Yeah.
word is kind of spreading in a really good way.
Mhm.
Again, not to overpromise and underdeliver, but just really the grassroots effort that we've done through a lot of these AMAs, yours included.
Mhm.
We may end up extending it to the end of the month, but it will not go beyond that. They have a hard cap of
Okay.
March for their own raise because again the seed round that the appetite is there. They're just trying to spread this out as much as they can for sure.
Yeah, okay, so potentially this could be over on the 14th, but it may last to the end of March, but definitely not gonna last longer than March. To recap it, if you wanna get into this without having to KYC, this is where you're gonna wanna go. What EMP Index Finance provided here, this
Totally.
allows you to do that without KYC. If you don't do it from here, you would just go straight to, buy L1X here, and then you'll see what they're gonna need for you from in terms of a KYC to do it that way.
Absolutely, and there's no advantage or
Yeah.
disadvantage to either or. It's the same deal, just simply that KYC. And if you would like to use dirty fiat, you can
Yeah.
go through LNX. But if you want to use crypto, our pre-sale page is a
Yeah.
much easier process for sure.
Yeah, I think that solves a lot of problems. You guys have made it as easy as you can for people to get involved. I think it's great. So yeah, we talked about the tokenomics. There's 1 billion hard cap of the tokens. We talked about the release schedule and all that stuff. The pre-sale price, the launch price. I've heard you say on a couple different AMAs something that varied a little bit. I heard you say that the launch price might in fact be more than 50 cents. Is there a case that might be true?
Yeah, so again, as I do these AMAs, I try to give the most accurate info as possible. But yeah,
Yeah.
what I meant by that is that we could see the price appreciate
Okay.
beyond the launch price. But no,
Got it.
as of right now, the actual launch price, 100%, no ifs, ands, or buts, will be 50 cents for sure.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure I asked that. So,
Yeah, no, absolutely, brother, and I appreciate you asking. So yeah, we have our own Discord, but I really would encourage
yeah.
everybody to join the L1X Discord, and we have our own channel in that as well.
Okay.
So if you're looking for kind of the first info on the decks, will also be in there. And once the race is over, we'll announce the name of the
I was
decks.
just gonna ask that. Do you
Yeah.
guys have a name?
We do, man. I can't drop the alpha here
Okay.
yet, but again, Jake and I from Dex Finance, and that was something that was really important to us too. Um, knowing, again, speaking from EMP, I don't want to put words in Jake's mouth, but we knew we were going to build on L1X regardless. Well,
Mhm.
I didn't want to have a situation where if we did need to bring on another partner, that we have already done all the naming and the tokenomics and everything, and then bring somebody else on. I
Mhm.
wanted that to be a collaborative effort from day one. And so, again, working with Dex Finance has been an absolute dream. They have a massive team. We just hired 4 new developers at EMP. So we have a total of 6 on our side now, but
Okay.
Dex Finance has 15
Wow.
developers that they work with and that are part of their core team. So again, we have more than enough people, and now that because we are the launch decks, we now have access to the L1X engineers as well. So
Yeah.
we have plenty of talent to
Yeah.
pull this off. But to my point is the name, the tokenomics, all of that. I really wanted it to be a collaborative effort. So we're going to announce that again within the next month or two, way before launch, obviously.
Okay.
But it'll be its own. Again, we'll have socials, and for that, it'll be its own entity. And we're not abandoning EMP or Dex
Right.
Finance by any means. This is just again the next step in the evolution.
Yeah, I've heard you say the term real yield, right? So that's what you guys are after is creating my version of, I guess, my interpretation of what you mean by that is creating real revenue streams that are coming in. So you're not in any way needing new money from new people to be pouring in to keep everything running in the ecosystem. So
Totally,
you don't have to sell native assets. You can earn yield off of those assets. That's the goal and the infinite money loop that everybody's after, right?
absolutely,
But the
brother. And
DEX would be a major player in that, in
yeah,
DEX finance and EMP's ecosystem. So to your point, I'm just reiterating, yeah, these guys aren't going anywhere. They've already proven that they're here for the long haul and they're building and they're innovating.
totally, brother. Again, I couldn't have said it better myself, and it's true. I mean, we here have a no fail attitude. Failure is not an option, and we've been toying around with all sorts of ways to generate that real yield. And there is no better way than to have a Dex feeding the ecosystem. And we didn't want to do a copy and paste
Yeah,
Dex like we see all
yeah,
over the place. So this is again the stars aligned in the innovation that L1X brings as well. So,
yeah, because
yeah,
you need volume on a DEX, right? In order to get
exactly,
the yield, right? With no
exactly.
volume, it's like, so, when all these projects say, we're going to have our own DEX, we're going to have our own launch pad and DEX, and it's like, okay, well, Yeah.
Who's using it? Yeah,
Yeah. Who's using it,
it's a
right?
Ferrari, it's a Ferrari or a Lambo, in the
Yeah.
garage
Yeah.
with nobody to drive it. So, yeah, totally, man. Yeah.
So again, yeah, that's the exciting part about them. It's not a competition. They're inviting everyone to play on the same field. So that there could be a ton of volume there.
Totally.
So yeah, awesome stuff, man. Well, I think we've covered a lot on this AMA,
I
and
know,
there's
brother. It was a deep dive. I know, it was a long one, but I appreciate you,
yeah.
everybody sticking around for the whole thing.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
stuck around, I actually forgot to ask you guys to like this video. If you're still here, I mean, you might as well just go ahead and like it and subscribe to this channel. You guys are amazing. I hope you guys learned so much. And again, we just invite you to join their Discord, join all their social media channels, and do your own research and look into this. And you might find yourself getting excited about the potential because that's what you're looking for. What I'm looking for is like an asymmetrical risk reward ratio. So it's like something that it's definitely high risk, but the reward level is like way up here, right? So that's kind of what I see with this. It's like, oh man, like you could jump over to this calculator and like you could put in $100. Like if you just contributed $100, get 1,000 tokens. You know, what could those 1,000 tokens be worth in 15 months? I mean, so that's what I mean. That asymmetric risk reward ratio there, where they're not equal. So anyway, really glad you guys like took part in listening to this AMA. AJ, it was awesome to have you here. And yeah, we'll hook up for sure on any things in the future that you guys have coming out with your what's the thing that you guys are working on right now with
Yeah,
EMP
totally. So we're calling it EMP Fusion.
Fusion.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's some people have heard me refer to it as our final form. But
Okay.
yeah, it's really exciting. That will be the next innovation again alongside the decks.
Cool.
But that alone will take away a lot of the human error, a lot of the negative aspects of
Yeah.
seniors protocols that we've learned over the last year and a couple of months. So yeah, again, and the community and sentiment is already changing again. Our peg
Yeah.
is starting to recover. E-share is up. So yeah, things are happening over at EMP. And by all means, again, I really appreciate the opportunity, Matt. Much love to you and your whole community. I always really respect your due diligence on things. And yeah, if anybody else has any further questions, please join the L1X Discord. They're much more
Okay.
active on Discord. Um, than anywhere else. And you can actually play with the test net on your own. So
Right.
again, don't take my word for it. Don't take
Yeah.
Matt's word. Look at it yourself. It's truly incredible. So yeah,
Yeah, and one last thing, I said it earlier on, but just to recap it, they're talking about an August launch. So if you're wondering, is this going to be a situation where I invest in this and there's a huge opportunity cost where it doesn't come out for 2 years? At least it doesn't seem that way, right? It seems like they're on track, and August is very much um, it's a high potential that that's going to happen, right?
yep, 100%. That's the
Okay,
same info I'm getting from the team directly. Again, I mean, they're even ahead of schedule,
right,
but
okay,
they're trying to coordinate, along with the next bull run,
yeah,
which
yeah,
again, I think that's forward thinking as well. Anybody that launches a project at the bottom of a bear, there's only one way to go, and that's up.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Well,
again, I think it's very smart on their part too. Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. Well, yeah, always great having you here, AJ. You guys are amazing. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next video.